Hello everybody, my name is Rob Maldonado and I'm driving for the UTC-4 time zone or the eastern side of the United States. I am an engineer and influencer and you may know me through my page, Virtual Flat CAD. I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, you can follow me there, and my main claim to fame is that I am the guy who posts and models a CAD model every single day. I'll post it to my page and just kind of share how awesome SolidWorks is, and I just try and goof around and really just try and show something cool every single day. I've been doing this for over 650 days and I'm running out of ideas, so if you have any ideas for what I should model next, let me know in the live chat. I'll be definitely looking at those. I'll give you I'll shout you out if I use your idea, and I think it should be pretty fun. So since we're racing and all that, we need to have a checkered flag, right? So I think for today's model today, we're gonna model a checkered flag, but not only that, I wanna make an animation of a flag waving, and then put the SLUGME logo in front. I think that'll be fun, and we'll call that CAD model today 653. So with that, let's get started. Of course, we need to get a file, new, part. And I'm gonna start with the flag here, which I bet will be the most interesting part to you guys. So the way that I like to model flags, well, I say that like I do that a lot. I've done it once before. I did a music note with a waving flag, and I'm gonna use the same method that I used in that. And basically, the key to making that work is I have a helix that when it spins, it actually drives the animation. And it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean when I start doing it. So I have a new part here, and one of the things I want to do is get a helix, and I want it to project towards the side. So I'll first start with a line, which I know might be strange because usually in SolidWorks we start with circles, but I'm actually not going to use the helix tool, and the reason for that is the helix tool does not allow me to animate it very well. So let's get a length on this thing. Maybe 1 inch like that. I'll leave it under define for right now. Then on the front plane, we're gonna make a line that is more in line with how long this flag is gonna be. I'm gonna actually make this flag at an angle too, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But let's give that a length of maybe 16 inches. Like, all of this is arbitrary because I'm only gonna use it to make an animation and then post it as model of the day 653. But we have that, and yeah, these are the two pieces that we need to make a helix. And kind of strange, right, to not use the helix tool, but if you go to surfaces, so I'm gonna bring my surfaces tab up, we're gonna go for a swept surface, and we're gonna sweep this this short line along this longer line. And the important thing, the key to make this work, is that the two endpoints need to be touching each other. So in this case, I just snap to the origin to make sure that they're in the exact same location, 3D space. But if you were building this somewhere else in the part file, you might have to put a pierce or even a coincident relation or something of that nature. But yeah, it's not looking like a helix at all, but that is perfectly okay. Because to fix that, we'll go to our options, and you'll notice we have this value for profile twist. And in that, I'm gonna say, we're gonna specify a twist value, and instead of degrees or radians, we're gonna go for revolutions. And I might have to adjust this later, but you don't want the coils to be too tight, because eventually we're gonna use this to actually drive the shape of our flag waving. So I'm gonna start with 3, I might adjust that later, we'll see. We're gonna hit okay, and well, that's not a helix, right? It's just kind of a ribbon, right? But if you look at the edge that I've highlighted in blue here, that's a helix. And what we can do from here to kind of extract a kind of wave from it, and the way I have it oriented towards you, you might be able to see that that edge that I've highlighted again here kind of looks like a sine wave, and well, that's because mathematically it is. But I need to tell SOLIDWORKS to actually just look at it from one perspective. So to do that, I'm gonna go to the top plane, I'm gonna click on that edge and say convert. And we all know what convert does. It takes any edge and projects it onto a plane. So that's really the key here, because if you take a helix and you project it onto a flat surface, that makes a wave. So, you know, you might be thinking, oh, that's a kind of a convoluted way of getting that. I could have drawn that with a spline or something like that. And of course you could have. But what this allows us to do is, if we look at our, if I hide this surface, and let's bring back this line that I've underdefined. If I move this line, you can see it's underdefined. You see I'm moving it, and it appears that the helix is twisting, it's moving. But what it allows us to do, it changes the phase of that wave. So that's kind of the key here. So eventually when I get to the assembly, I'm gonna drive that line with a motor to just kind of spin in circles, and that will make this effect that this sine wave will be like moving, and it'll be really cool. But yeah, that's really the most interesting part here. So let me set it back to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say that this line should be horizontal for right now, and make sure show my relations. I like to have this up so I can see what's going on. And eventually, a lot of people don't know this, a cool trick. If you right click on the little relation, you can actually suppress relations. So just to, you know, keep things locked down as I work on it, just to make sure, you know, I don't accidentally move it and throw myself an error while in the middle of building my flag here. You know, that's a way to get around that. So we'll have that there. We're gonna hide that. We'll come back to sketch one later. But with this, we can extrude this as a surface. So we're just gonna start it off really thin, and we're just gonna make this pretty large. You know, you can have a square shaped flag, but using other surface tools, I'm actually gonna trim this down to be the final shape of our flag here. So I've extruded this to an arbitrarily large value. So there you go. It's kind of like a square, and I might be able to even give you a little preview of what the waving animation would even look like. So if I show this, make sure Instant 3D is on, and if that's the case, then I can just click. Oh, I gotta suppress first. Got a little bit ahead of myself. Put that down there, get that out of the way, and say toggle suppression. Let's get out. And if I move that, there you go. It changes the phase of the flag. So there is like a little preview of what's about to come. So I can go back here and say toggle suppression again. Okay, so I put it on the other side, but that's okay. I'll be able to work with that either way. So now I need to be able to kind of cut out the shape of my flag. So I'm gonna create like kind of like a cookie cutter sketch. So we're gonna start on our front plane here, and we're gonna go for a 3-point corner rectangle, and I'm just gonna kind of draw it out here. I want to make sure that I will snap to the origin rather than, for example, to the edge of the surface. It's just better practice for, you know, not creating dependencies on other bodies. So in case I have to redo the surface in some other way, you know, if this corner is attached to that surface, it's going to say, hey, I can't find my buddy anymore. Where'd he go? I don't know where to be. Whereas the origin is very persistent. It's the most persistent thing. And just like that, you know, it'll never lose it'll never lose that location. So now I can make a size, so maybe I'll make that 8 inches, and maybe that can be like 12 or something like that. And suppose I could set an angle, right? So let's just do something like this. So it's like kind of showing like a flag, you know, as seen, well, at least in NASCAR, you know, they kind of hold the flag out at an angle as they're crossing. But yeah, but this is Le Mans. But you know, I'm still gonna put the same thing there. 25 degrees. Let's just try that out. So now I have my cookie cutter. All I have to do is go to surfaces and say, let's do trim surface. And since we're trimming with a sketch, you can leave it on standard. We can say keep selections. Doesn't make, it's not too much of a difference if you say remove and you click the outside here, but we'll have something like that. And now we have a surface like this, and I think that's actually way too wavy, actually. So I can actually adjust the amplitude of that sine wave that I've got by shortening the line. So if I say maybe just cut that in half, just straight up, that's better. I could even go further, honestly. A quarter. There we go. So we're gonna have this like nice, subtle, ripply flag effect. And let me turn up the lights in here too, just 2. We're gonna turn the lights up like that a little bit so we can just go, you can actually see the ripples a little bit better, I think. That might be too high. Go back, there we go. That is good. Okay, so in order to make a checkered flag, I could put like a texture, but I do find that sometimes when you're wiggling around a surface like that if I put a texture, it tends to shift around the surface, and it just kind of, it breaks the illusion. So I might not go with that way, but what I'm thinking is I might actually split up the surface into faces and then color them, and then just color them with appearances. So let's show my sketch here. Let's grab a new sketch on the front plane again. I want to convert these, but let me turn that into construction. And to have like equally spaced, to divide this up, I'm going to use the segment command. Segment. So I can say, let's break that up into segments. I think 4 is pretty good. Oops, looks like I got to do one at a time. That's cool. Just hit the little thumbtack. We'll keep that thing persisting. Maybe turn that up to like 6. There we go. Oop, and I'm done with that. And I'm just gonna bridge some lines here. I could use the pattern, but oops. But it's not too many lines. Draw that and there. And a cool thing that I'm doing is that instead of just, you know, normally when you draw a line, if you say click to other click, you get this whole chain. But very subtly, if you instead of click to click, if you click, hold, and drag, it gives you one line and automatically terminates it. So when you're doing something like this, it's a nice little quality of life improvement. So I don't have to keep hitting the escape, having to terminate the line over and over again. So we have that. I'm gonna go ahead and split. I might actually have to split after I thicken, but let's see. So we have that. So now we have this checkered pattern. Let's go ahead. I'm going to change my view. Whenever I have split lines, I like to set my tangent edges as phantom. That way it's like easier for me to tell like what's an object line and what's just, you know, me splitting the surface into multiple pieces for one advantage or another. So something I want to do a quick test. Let's first save this flag, not flag. If I thicken this, will I lose my partitions there? So if I say thicken this surface equally, what's the thickness of fabric? Not sure. Let's try 50 thou. Unable to thicken the surface. It is upset. Yeah, I might have to do that after. So let me try. I'm doing the split. Going above. I'm gonna thicken. I don't think I'll do in the direction of the front plane. The reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that the very edges of the faces actually touch those lines that I drew before. Because if I don't put a specific direction, you see it alters the direction. You see it's actually jutting out a little bit because it wants to make a 90-degree angle, and the line might not actually cut all the way through. So by putting that front direction, it ensures that it comes straight to the just ensures it comes straight to that trimming line, and it will match up just perfectly. There we go. Do that. And then let's just say split line again. Curve split line selections is this. Yep, and that seems to have worked. Our flag both has actual thickness, and we have it subdivided. So that's pretty cool. Although I guess you could keep it as a surface since we're just doing an animation, but you know, it's nice to show you these tips while while I'm here. So as far as appearances goes, let's go ahead and perhaps let's go to fabric. I know there's like there's a canvas texture, which I think will be pretty cool. Let me do that globally. So just apply that to the whole part, and I'll apply to a face as well. So if I go to here, oh, I put white cotton by accident. So I put yet another. So yeah, it puts another canvas. So I now have an opportunity to go ahead. Advanced, we're gonna color this. I'm gonna put dark gray. And for the mapping, I'm gonna say surface. And let me just put that in 12. That should follow. And then for the faces, I can just go ahead. Oops, and then just kind of do that. Something like this. Oops, I screwed that up. There we go. And that's a checkered flag. And I think the first canvas needs to be just adjusted a little bit. So let's do this. It's mostly the mapping. If I do surface and 12, and actually make this into 25. Or it might have to be 70. Yeah, there you go. So that the grains just kind of matches the direction of the flag. Let's save that and test. I think it's very important to test often. So if, for example, I go here, and I toggle the suppression, and move this like up here. Yeah, so now the flag is waving like differently, but the squares are still the same because I just have the split line. So that sketch is completely stationary, and that's really what's going to drive the illusion. So let's do some more details. I think if so this is from the surface trim, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to start a sketch, grab that line from the surface trim, convert. We need to make a staff. Cannot drag. I highly doubt it. There we go. Just needed some coaxing, some convincing. And we can go ahead, give that a length, maybe it looks very close to 24. Yeah, I really like the way that's looking. So you might be wondering, so if I have to draw a staff that, you know, has a circular cross section, why am I doing it like this rather than why don't I start a plane and you know, extrude a circle? And the reason is, well, we're at an angle. It's much more awkward. I would have to create a new plane. But what's really underrated is if I just draw where I want the staff to go, to actually just go and give it to the sweep command. You know, you think of sweeps for being like for these very complicated paths, you know, with consistent cross section. But I find that if you need like a rod that is at a weird angle, like an arbitrary angle, you know, you just throw the circular path and you just give it that one straight line. It makes it pretty simple to do. I think I'm gonna leave this unmerged. And, you know, let's give that like a metal appearance of some kind. So metal, steel. I like the brushed steel, so we'll put that like there. Very cool. And additionally, I can go ahead and, you know, I'm gonna want to put a little top on it, you know, maybe a little like a brass ball or something like that, just to give it some visual appeal. So I'm just gonna draw that, say that's collinear, give that a dimension. Not that one. Click, goodbye. Dimension. Yeah, my mouse is fighting me a little bit. No big deal. Oh, actually I should undo that. Because I want this to like not touch tip to end. There we go. Now I can adjust the size of this if I want to, like that, and that should just adjust itself. And worth pointing out that I could have done the rod like this too if I just drew a rectangle on an angle and then revolved it, which, you know, is what I'm about to do. That would have also worked. But I like making this a variety show, you know. So we have that, and I think that would look pretty cool if we made that like some kind of brass. Yeah, there we go. So far so good. Let's go ahead and give this a good old save. Let's test this out. We're gonna put this in an assembly. Let's do new assembly. The flag, and remember to hit check. That places that makes the origin of the part and the origin of the assembly the exact same place, and it just makes a lot of patterning a lot easier. We have this weird shadow, though I don't think I'll even need them, so I'll turn off shadows in shaded mode. We have this flag. We still got to fix some lighting settings, but flag Annie. All right, let's save this. And now we can start thinking about how we're going to animate it. So the way I usually go about animating sketch elements in different parts, so this this line needs to be animated. So the way I do that is I bring in another part, usually a blank empty part, and mate that sketch line to that part, and then I drive that secondary part with a motor. You can have it blank. There doesn't have to be any geometry, but that can be kind of tricky, especially if you're trying this for the first time. So we're gonna make a dummy part. We're gonna make a dummy part that we can put in the assembly, and we'll be able to easily drive it around. So we're gonna start a new part, go on the top plane, and for dummy parts, I just like to make it like a little square, like tiny rod, I guess. So let's make those equal. Say it's like 1 inch or whatever. 4 inches tall. Like this is actually completely arbitrary. And notice that I did not center the sketch about the origin. I did that on purpose. It'll make it easier to hook up to the line once we get to that step. So I'm gonna save that, call that dummy or something like that. Go back to the assembly. We're gonna insert components. We're gonna insert the dummy part. Yeah, it's pretty big, but it's okay because like it's much easier to see, but also we're gonna hide this away so it has no effect in the animation. So in terms of this, let's make that with the right plane. I think what would help if we had, there's the origin. I would like an axis to go directly through. So in the assembly, let's grab the top and the front plane, go to reference geometry, axis, get us an axis. And axis is our hiding. Axis shows up, and we can grab that edge and make that coincidence. So with me mating the face and that edge to the axis, we should just have a part that just kind of, its only degree of freedom is to spin around, basically. And that's exactly what we need. So how do we attach this tiny line in the flag part to this dummy part? So that's where top-down assembly modeling comes in handy, which is, in short, when you instead of making parts in their own part files and then building in an assembly, you start in the assembly and you can actually make changes in the parts. The advantage of that being, you're about to see, if I get flag, edit component, I can edit this sketch and actually see the other components in the assembly, and I can actually put relations to that, which I think is very handy. So all I gotta do is get this, I gotta get this line and make it collinear to that. And that basically links them up. That's all we need. And we can get out, and now we can see that once I move this and hit Control B for rebuild, there we go, we're cooking with gas now. That's awesome. All right, this is looking awesome. Actually, you know, my original idea is like, I kind of wanted to zoom into the flag and have the SLUGME logo there. But now that I see, you know, with the staff and stuff, I think I kind of want to have crossed checkered flags and have like the logo there. I think that would be super, super cool. So, you know, let's work towards that. I'm going to leave the dummy part showing. That's totally fine. But actually what I need to do is to pattern this. I think what I'm going to do is, you know, I don't really want to mirror it, because if I mirror, you know, about a plane, they'll be directly on top of each other and you'll see the two shafts crossing, whereas really I want one in front of the other. So we're going to create a new axis. And we're going to start with a point. So basically I'm going to define my axis as going through that point and perpendicular to the top plane. So now we have an axis that is a little bit offset from where the origin is supposed to be. And with that, I should be able to go for a circular component pattern using that axis. Components to pattern is that. And say 2 equal spacing. I could actually bring that closer to each other if I wanted to. Did I miss it on the other side too? Okay, so it looks like I have a little appearance issue. Yep, not a problem. So here's a trick. Click on the color you want. Hit Control-Shift-C. That is copy appearance. Click on the face. Control-Shift-V, and make sure you just specify that you only want the face. Save, and that should fix it on both ends. So that's a really nice handy advantage. So now if I move this, both of them should update and look spectacular. Oh yeah, that's gonna look cool. All right, so let's save. As far as the logo goes, we can put it like over here somewhere. Start a new part. And actually, I prepared the SLUGME logo for this event. I traced it beforehand and I saved it to a SOLIDWORKS block, which I recommend if you work at a company and you like to stamp your logo on the parts that you make. Definitely trace your logo, put some effort into it, and then save the block. And the nice thing is, watch this. I'm going to start a sketch on the front plane. Command you're looking for is insert block. Insert block, browse, go to where you keep it, which I just put in my documents. There we go. So we just have this whole thing, and if you need to adjust the size, there's a very handy dandy scale functionality. I might actually scale it up to be twice as big. There we go. Okay. And then now I can start doing cool stuff with this. So let's start with like an extrude. And this is a multi-contour sketch. So thin featured, that's gotta be off. And I want the inner parts of this is the shadow of the earth, which I think is pretty cool. And we have that, maybe make that jut out half an inch like that. Very good. And I'm gonna reuse that sketch, another extrude, and make sure, let's get out of that. I need to see a preview, there we go. One of these regions got a little crossed up, but that's fine. I might have to hide the other parts. Hide this one. This is the one I need. And then now I should be able to access that just fine. And you have a tiny hitbox. There we go. UGME. Very nice, very nice. Let that go one. And let's bring back the other things. And maybe just to clean it up a little bit, I like to use the indent command. Indent, I can get this S, and if I turn on cut, it'll make a pocket that will perfectly fit this thing that is going through. So I'll give you a Jumbotron close-up. So just kind of remember where this is. I'm gonna hide it. So before they were intersecting each other like that, and afterwards a perfect pocket. You don't even have to really think about it. It's just based on the position of the body. So I can actually run that one more time for the L, cut, do that. And there you go. Now that's like very perfectly integrated with the logo. Save that. Logo. What else? I think these track needs a couple fillets. So do that, and definitely take advantage of the edge selection. Oh, need full preview. Okay, there you go. I was like, oh, where's my preview, dude? It's something like that. SLUGME need some colors. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, let's go ahead, get the image. If you click and drag an image, oh, it applied it as a texture. That is not what I wanted. Let me go insert object, create from file, browse, and I just have the image right here. Come on, dude, show the image. Fine, I'll open it. I was trying to show you a way to get it so that you can actually have it in the SOLIDWORKS window, but you know, we'll roll with this. So let's just split my screen like this, get rid of the object, and so I know that this body needs to be like red, like red. So it's let's do a plastic, medium gloss, red. The SLUGME is black, but typically I don't like to put, you know, like kind of pure black on SOLIDWORKS parts because it's like it's a very intense amount of contrast. I usually go for like a dark gray, and I can do the feature. That looks pretty good. And actually what I might do, just to put a bit of contrast, because SLUGME is very difficult to read right now. Let me think, how do I want to do this? Let's shell. So let me undo that. Yeah, let's just do a shell, though I would have to do that a couple times. Yeah, instead. Just do that. Sir, go the other way. Offset. Yeah, that's strange. It really likes that outward direction, huh? I might try pre-selecting the faces and then just going for offset. Or I might not be able to do destroy. We'll see. No preview. All right, that's fair. Let's do offset, pin, verse, okay. There we go, and we're just gonna do a very slight extrude cut. Like that. So instead, I'm actually gonna make that white, and then the cut will be dark. And there we go, that's a lot more readable. This is like dark gray, and the top is like a light gray. Yeah, and it looks pretty dark, and that's because SOLIDWORKS standard settings, you know, has the light pretty dark for one reason or another. But I'm gonna fix that when I put it into the assembly. So this is all saved up. It looks pretty good. Let's go back to the assembly, and let's go my control tab, like that. Insert components, we got our logo. Oh man, that's gonna be so cool. Honestly, I might put like a backplate to this. Although it does look kind of cool with the, oh man, there's so many directions you could take this. So many directions. But I'll do something like that. I think that looks kind of cool. And I'm probably gonna do let's just do at least, I was actually thinking of fixing it in place, I'll be honest with you. But that's a big no-no. But at least I'll make sure that it is centered. So let's do that. Yeah, you see, I was a little bit off. Good thing I didn't do that. Top to top, let's do a distance. 7, looks like it wants to be. And in terms of front to front, that should have an offset as well. So we're gonna do a distance of 0.5625, something like that. There we go. We're getting to the final steps here. You know, we kind of have our thing set up. Save. We're gonna go to a motion study. Something very important here. There's a couple of animation modes. Animation basic motion. If you have SOLIDWORKS Premium or above, you will have motion analysis. For this, we just want animation. We need to tell the animation to rebuild on every single frame. The only mode that does that is animation. So now that we have that squared away, the only thing we have left is to add a motor, and there's a bunch of junk in the way. Let me hide those axes. So I'm gonna click that edge of the dummy part that it rotates about. I'm gonna say a constant speed. If we want this animation to be 5 seconds long, then it will, if I want it to complete 1 cycle, that means it needs to be at 12 RPM. That should give it 1 rotation every 5 seconds. So just to see this, you know, I'll work on the aesthetics in a bit. Let's pan that. Orientation and camera for right now. We're gonna create a camera, maybe have some cool perspective. Replace key, but we need to see what's going on. We'll hit calculate. And what we should see, what we should hear is my computer churning this. But what we should also see is that dummy key start to move around, and as a result of that, the flag should wave. So if I do that, yep, the flags are waving. It's actually very subtle. I might actually go back and make that line longer. That's just kind of what needs to happen. So I'm gonna go back to open part, go here, and you can see that it still has that external collinear. We're gonna make this twice as big. So I think that's probably the way it needs to be. No rebuild errors because we were smart in the ways that we defined our geometry, and we're gonna give it another recalculate. And there you go, the effect is much more noticeable now. I might even put it all the way back to 1. I don't know what I was thinking at the very beginning, but I mean, that's the advantage of like really planning through, you know, how things are defined, because, you know, you never know what you're gonna see towards the end. And, you know, you just want to be able to have that flexibility. All right, so that is looking really slick. So now it's just the couple of things. There's first the frame rate. I'm gonna turn that up to 60. I like making that 60 frames per second, just to have that kind of buffer. But first, let's pick a scene. Scene, where are you, scene? I have seen the scene. It's right here. What can we do? Maybe something like this. And then I'll start there and I'll adjust it. Scene, edit, gradient. Let's not make it so aggressive. So let's do like that, going to basically white. Yeah, that kind of looks like asphalt, which is really cool. Let's do that. Let's just kind of center this. We're also going to create a camera, so we can right click, add camera. Okay, so the view is right here, target by selection. So that's where the camera is pointing to. I'm going to try the origin. No, it has to be a little bit less than that. I'm going to show numeric controls. And we want it to look down on the Y, so I'm going to just turn that down until the preview looks correct. Camera position is pretty good for right now. What I do want to mess around with is this field of view. You know, I think what would be pretty cool if we did that, made the camera like a lot closer to, maybe not that close. Something like that. So now with like this this very aggressive field of view angle, you get this really kind of stylish animation. I'm gonna have to bring this up so we can actually see. Oh, that looks pretty cool, I think. And maybe a little too there, like that. Let's try that. I like the way that looks. Oh, and actually, I forgot. Let me go back here. Oh, not add camera. Doofus. I need to edit camera. Because in Instagram, it really likes that square format, so I'm going to do that. And actually, I have to adjust it a little bit still. That's okay. Like that. And like that. There we go. So we have this really cool camera. I might actually bring it up. You know, this is one of those things you can keep poking at, but the last adjustment, I want to see if I can get that SLUGME logo just into the background so it's easier to see. Edit so the camera position. Let's get the longitude like that. Oh, there we go. That's the hot ticket right there. Now we can see SLUGME and bring this down. Not bad. There we go. Nice. So make sure you have camera view, and then you need to replace key. Oop. Undo that. I should go back here. Yeah, it looks like I lost all my work, but no, it's just the camera's here. Just turn on camera view and just replace the key. So now it should keep that key there consistent. Rerun the animation. Oops. And let me stop that. I think I still put it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna drag this end key and put it right here because I did all my changes here by accident, but it's okay. So if I just drag the end to the beginning, then it stays there consistent. That looks pretty good. I know it's a little bit off center, but I can always fix that in Camtasia a little bit. Last step, set to 60. One last calculation for the road. No pun intended. And then it's just hiding the sketches, basically hiding all entities and hiding the dummy part from view. So then it just looks like you got a handful of flags waving in front of the SLUGME logo. This has been actually very fun. All right, now that it's done calculating, you can give that a play. That looks really good. Remember, let's take this, move that to the front. Dummy needs to hide, and hide all objects. And let's go ahead and save this out. Save. That's pretty good. Remember to also put the frame rate up in here and save this to MP4. That's gonna be definitely the best, best settings overall. We'll save and I'll edit this part out. We'll talk in a sec. All right, it looks like it just finished up. Let's go take a look. Go here. And there you go. It's a little bit of clipping here, but I rerun it again, but you know, that's really the gist of it. That looks super, super cool. I can take this into post, just trim the edges a little bit, make it look extra nice. But yeah, that's basically how to make a wave animation, a flag flying animation in SolidWorks. Thank you so much for joining me, and good luck out there in the races. I'll see you later.